Do you immigrants really understand GANG culture in the United States of America? I know a lot of people like to start like with the Italians when we're talking about organized crime, but did you know that a tiny fraction of the Italian immigrants that came to the United States of America during the 1800s, early 1900s, a small fraction of them were in families like La Costa Nostra, right? Small fraction. Before those Italians got here, there were Irish, there were Tiny Hat, there were Dutch, there were a lot of different GANGSs. For the sake of privilege, they decided to call themselves white tea. I guarantee you didn't know that. Also, you said something about our substance use and abuse epidemic. Again, this is diabolical coming from an immigrant who poorly understands U.S. history, moreover, Black American history. Every problem you see in our community, I'll say 90% of the problems you see in our community were forced into our communities. It's well documented. The Contra trials are well documented. People like Ricky Freeway Ross, you know what I'm saying, have told the stories of how they linked up with people down there in the Contras in Nicaragua and Venezuela and the likes in Colombia. Right? We know what happened with our communities. We know that in the 1980s, we were not only flooded with a mass migration of immigrants, but we were also flooded with derugs. Right? It is not the first time we've been flooded with a problem. I mean, there's been chemical warfare done on our people, like the Tuskegee experiment or the people over there in St. Louis, Missouri with the Pruitt-Igoe experiment. Right? You immigrants don't know anything about that. Right? We have had people that became presidents of the United States that were on trial for having a direct hand in allowing the trafficking of drugs in Black American cities and Black American communities. Right? But is that the same? Like, before I get into this, is it the same doing the whole comparison thing? You know, what's more diabolical about this is that these other places these people come from, like the Jamaicans, when y'all came here, y'all forgot about the shower posse? Did you forget about what the Haitians have been caught up in? Do you forget where Hispanic and Latino community members come from? Right? There's a reason why, they come from lands where cartels are running the lands, like even actively today. Right? We saw the shit that was playing out there in the Gulf of America. Boats were being blown out the goddamn water. Right? Because there's a drug problem that's being brought into the United States. It's not being facilitated by the United States. We're not manufacturing drugs here and singing it out to another person's country. That's not what we're doing. Right? But, somebody with a similar skin color want to come up here talking about, I don't love GANG's members, and crack addicts speak for themselves, right? We understand that there's substance use and abuse prevalence in those other countries and continents like Africa, right? We know the Somalians eat khat. We know the Haitians smoke the bones of the deceased, right? We know these things, right? And Jamaicans, their Rastas have a whole ganja culture. You feel what I'm saying? And yet we have, like, chemical warfare operations like the LSD operation that happened. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand They don't understand the CIA operations that happened right here on USA soil. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't have time to go through the history with them because, like I said before, they cannot compete where they don't compare. Right? And as messed up as Black Americans may appear to be to you, our gangs have never mass displaced anybody or caused mass starvation. You understand what I'm saying? We don't go into people's schools or churches or theaters, places of public assembly, and unalive everybody. We don't do that, right? That's another group of people. No matter how messed up we are as Black Americans, our violence, our infighting, our community violence, y'all call it black on black crime, that has never led to the mass displacement of Black Americans and have resulted in any form of us filling out any applications for asylum or temporary protection status from ourselves. That's you, right? Again, you got to stop trying to compete where you don't compare. An immigrant will never be equivalent to the experiences or the actual living conditions of a Black American, right? When you leave your lands, you come here with a clean slate. Then you come up against people that never had a clean slate, that have always had to earn and achieve. Earn and achieve. Meanwhile, you just simply benefit. This is a problem, right? You're speaking from a very privileged standpoint. That also makes us different. I don't speak from privilege. I speak from struggle and achievement. We're not the same.